Long life, now we feeling it again. Better hold tight, we on this ride that never ends, going all night. Can you feel this energy? This is where we're meant to be.
Hey guys, what's up? I'm Chantel and welcome to my channel, Chantelevision. Today I thought I'd make a video about Scream 6, so this is a spoiler video. If you haven't seen it, get out now. 3, 2, 1, that was your chance. Real quick, I know some of you are wondering why this video is coming out so late, and it's for two reasons. One, I went and saw the movie a couple of times so I could really hone in on the things I missed the first time, make sure I got any details, that I may have forgotten. And two, the first time I tried to record the video, none of the audio recorded. So that's great. I'm flying by the seat of my pants right now making this video before I got to go to work. I just want to start off saying that I honestly give this movie a 10 out of 10. And no, it's not because I'm just like fangirl. I'm a Scream fangirl. I mean, I am a Scream fangirl. But I give it a 10 out of 10 because of all of its callbacks to Scream 2. I really like that. I kind of like that they followed the path in Scream 5 of the first Scream, and now they're kind of doing it with the second one, and I kind of hope they continue on. It sort of brings it back home to me. I was 10 when the movie came out. I was 10 when I saw it. I believe my parents even rented it on VHS because hashtag, yes, that old. So I really want to apologize to the lighting real quick. This isn't ideal. This is just all I could come up with, again, before I've got to go to work. So starting with the beginning, it opens up very much so like all the rest of the movies, with an opening ghost face kill. However, this one is a little bit different. But first, before we start really talking about the movie, I want to talk about a little bit of character development that we saw. So let's start with Mindy. I noticed that Mindy had become slightly darker in terms of her outlook on life. Like there's a part where she says that she's scared to get hurt again. And in the first one that we saw her in, she kind of had like a positive, almost airy attitude about the whole situation. She was kind of the Randy Meeks, so to say, but we get to kind of see her in a little bit of a darker place this time. Now, Chad. I love Chad. In 5, I wasn't really sure. He was kind of the stereotypical jock, like he even says it, like, I don't want to sound like the stereotypical jock trying to have sex with his girlfriend, so he definitely had that role to play because they did intend to kill him off, but they didn't. They saved him at the last minute, just like they did with Dewey, and I feel like he is the new Dewey. He is the glue that holds everything together. And then we've got one of our fan favorites, Tara, and personally, she's, my favorite last girl. I loved her character. Jenna Ortega just stole the screen. But we can see that she's clearly not handling the events of 5 very well. She's showing avoidant behavior, as well as like some risky behavior, like with what they call them, date rape, something or other, trying to go up the stairs. And then we've got Sam. And if I'm being frank, wow. Just wow. Like, she went from, like, a 5-year absence, and then into the events of Scream 5, where she was, like, distant, almost confused, about her role in Tara's life, and now she's become this overprotective sister, making sure, to kind of be the mother hen, that she feels her sister needs. And now we've got our legacy character, which is Gail. And she really hasn't had a whole lot of growth since 5. And at the end of 5, she did say something along the lines of she's going to let these two losers die in anonymity. And she was going to write a book about a good sheriff. And in good old Gail fashion, that's not what she did. And I'm not surprised. Gale Weathers is Gale Weathers, and that's why we love Gale Weathers. She is not afraid to metaphorically slit some throats. So, jumping into the actual movie, like I mentioned earlier, I kind of thought It was a regular Ghostface calls, girl answers, gets stabbed to death opening, which is almost kind of what happened. Samara Weaving's character, who happens to be a slasher horror professor at a college, gets lured down an alley. Like, check how dumb are you? And then stabby, 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 stabby. She dies in what I can just describe as like horrific and horrendous, and she did it so well. Her screams, they were chilling and believable, and I loved it. But then we get what we've never had before, which is a ghost face reveal. And at this point, I was like, ooh, it's gonna get deep, because there's no way they're just going to unveil Ghostface. If they're going to do that, they may as well make a whole other spin-off series from the aspect of Ghostface. So that's a whole other video in itself. So anyway, we find out that Ghostface is this guy named Jason, and we just kind of see him casually take off this outfit and then walk out into New York City like nothing happened. And that's when we find out that he actually knows Tara. And we find out that he is going to go to the same party that she's going to be at. We eventually follow him home, where we see him get a call from the actual Ghostface. And at first he thinks it's his partner just kind of messing around. But as time kind of goes on during this conversation, he starts to figure out that this probably is not his partner. So they play a little game of hot and cold, and it was so chilling when he gets to the fridge and Ghostface is like, hot, and he opens it, and it is the decapitated and dismembered body of his partner. And then guess what? Ghostface shows up and slashy, stab. Guy's dead. Opening credits of the movie. And then pretty much after this, it's like the Scream cutscene, with the title, and then we just jump right into Sam being in her therapist's office, and he's kind of pushing her for more information on like why she's there. She's talking about her sister, but not about herself. And she ends up showing him that she's being like violently harassed. Violently is not a right word, but like serial harassed on social media, accusing her of being the actual Ghostface. And then she also tells him, that her ex-boyfriend was Ghostface and that she stabbed him to death 23 times, slit his throat, and shot him in the head. And at this point, the psychiatrist is like, you need to see someone else. This is freaking me out. Get out of my office. After this is when we get to meet Quinn, and we find out that Quinn, Sam, and Tara all live together in an apartment. And this is also where Sam finds out that, guess what? Tara went to this party, and Sam goes, not ballistic, but she freaks out. She becomes like the mother hen and starts worrying. Which absolutely makes total sense. Sam does end up going to this party in order to get Tara, and this is where we finally get to see Chad, and we also meet Ethan, who does end up being one of the Ghostface killers, which I thought was great. But we get to see Chad kind of do the knight in shining armor thing, where he saves Tara, so to speak, from going upstairs with that date rape, whatever his name is, and I thought that was just sweet. After this, they go back to the apartment that Sam and Quinn and Tara all share, and this is when Chad decides that they are going to form the core four. And I thought that was adorable. I loved how they added that in. I thought it was sweet and just adorable, and shows how Dewey-esque his character is. We are also introduced to Annika, who is Mindy's girlfriend, and I thought that was like really adorable. And Annika's she's cute in herself. The way she wears her hair totally reminds me of like the early 2000s style, and I'm really taking that. Anyway, back on track. This is when Annika calls everybody into the living room and is like, whoa, look at the news, check this out. We finally get to see the aftermath of the Ghostface attack on Jason and his partner. And, of course, Sam wants to go. And this is when we find out that Quinn's dad is a detective, Detective Bailey. We also find out that Quinn had a brother who died. And I can't believe I did not make the connection between her brother and Richie. That was just mind fucking boggling to me that I did not make the connection. Which later on I think was like a really great motive. It again brings it right back around to Scream 2. Tara and Sam do end up at the Popo station, and this is when we get to meet Kirby. And we find out that Kirby and Sam actually went to school together, but were, a couple years apart in age, which I thought was a really good, bring around. It connected the characters in the movies a little bit more. I really, really like that. Eventually, we are introduced to Danny, who they all refer to as Hawkeye, and he lives in the same apartment complex, but in the apartment across from theirs, there's like an alleyway in between. And this is actually, right when we see Ghostface attack Quinn, and poor Danny has to see all this go down. And all of our core four, then and Annika, they hear this what they think is Quinn actually getting on with her dude, but then they very quickly realize that is not what's happening, and Quinn's body is just like thrust from the room, blood everywhere, neck just split open, and nobody really sticks around to look. They all bolt except Mindy gets fucking stuck, and what does Ghostface do? He slashes her, and here comes Annika to the rescue, and whoa, God, she takes a gut shot, and a twist. Oh my God, the pain that she must. Oh, it just, I felt it. Fortunately, though, Tara and Chad do manage to get out, but because the front door is locked, they cannot get back into the apartment. So it's just Tara and Annika and Mindy that are now trying to get out. They bolt themselves or lock themselves into a room. We see all of this kind of in the preview, and they have to go across on the ladder. Now, this is where Annika does die. She just can't make it across. She's the last to go, and Ghostface starts taunting, really shaking that ladder, and she just couldn't hold on anymore. And when she falls, man, smash! Her head just smashed right into a dumpster. It was like, oh my God, holy shit. It was good though, and I really enjoyed it. Really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. Really sad, but really good. Now, as for the bodega scene, I do want to let everyone know that Ghostface didn't just like Matrix style dodge the gunshot. In the movie, it is much more realistic, although, kind of unrealistic still, which makes total sense. I thought this was absolutely a brutal scene, and I loved it to death. I thought it was really well executed. I wasn't sure how I felt at first about Ghostface wielding a shotgun, but it looked well, they filmed it well, and later on it ends up making sense when they unveil, Detective Bailey as one of the Ghostface killers. Something that we saw in the trailer was the subway scene, and I will admit, I thought they were all on the subway together and that we just couldn't see Mindy. Maybe she was hidden to the side, but it turns out, no, that Mindy and Ethan, who, side note, Mindy's been literally looking at and being like, I know you're Ghostface, bitch, you're Ghostface, bitch. So her and Ethan get stuck on the next train, and she literally tells him, like, stay the fuck away from me, Ghostface, and I love that. I love it. And she like keeps her eyes on him the whole time, and then this is where she gets stabbed, and it looks like she gets stabbed in the gut a couple of times. So I thought maybe Mindy might be it. I was like, shit, this might be the end for her character. But luckily, Ethan does get her off, and she cracks a joke there at the end. I don't even remember. But I think she says something like, I was wrong again, or something like that. But she does end up living, and I thought that was awesome. I also wanted to add that this happened in front of like dozens of people in a very small, packed space, and it just kind of goes to show that New York is just as brutal as Ghostface himself. I mean, ugh, Jesus. Then we do end up like with that big scene of Gail in her apartment, which everybody speculated that maybe she was gonna die, maybe she wasn't gonna die. I don't understand why she left the safety of her room. Me personally, I'd have been like, this motherfucker's got one way in and one way out. That's it. Like he can come in, he can get shot, and then the paramedics can drag his dead body out. But no, in true Gail fashion, what does she do? She leaves her room. And this is when her and Ghostface duke it out, and it was actually really pretty cool. And there at the end, he starts to get the upper hand. And ta-da, guess who busts in and saves the day? It is Sam and Tara, and the paramedics are like right behind them. And honestly, I thought it was so good when she said, "Tell Sydney he didn't get me." Way to go, Gail. Awesome. Loved it. Now, as I alluded to earlier, or at least I told you, flat out told you, it was Bailey, Quinn, and Ethan. Now, they all happen to be related, with Bailey being the dad, Quinn and Ethan being the sibling or the children, and the siblings of Richie. And like I said, that's their motive for doing this, is to get back at Sam for killing their brother. And like the little twist on it that I really did like was that Quinn was the one who started the rumor about Sam being the real Ghostface. I thought that was really fun, and I thought it was just like really genius, you know what I mean? Like a really smart move to play, again, to bring everything around full circle. I'm sure that this is an unpopular opinion, but I really liked the reveal and I really liked the motive. I thought they were great. I will admit, though, that I suspected Kirby or Bailey from the first time I saw the shrine room in the trailer, because only a cop could get a hold of something like that, or a cop had to have been involved for someone to have been able to get stuff like that. So I already kind of had the edge on that. I did end up being surprised, though, that the shrine room was actually made for Richie. I did really like how at the end it said, film made by Richie or directed by Richie Kirsch, which I thought was like a really nice thing to just sort of add there on the end. I do like the fact that he did it for his son, as fucked up and creepy as that shit is. During the big boss fight, we do see Kirby get shot by Bailey, and it was really cool because Ghostface just comes running up behind him, and she's like, "Oh shit, shit," and then bang, bang, she's down, and then Ghostface just stops, takes off the mask, reveals himself as Ethan. A third Ghostface comes in, takes off that mask, boom, it's Quinn. Did not see that twist coming, I will admit. I was like, what? This is where the big boss fight just kind of happens. They're trying to get away and fight these three Ghostface, which I also really liked. We've never had three Ghostface. Technically, I guess we had four. And if you really want to dive deep dive into it, we had five. Even though we never got to see like a real kill, it still was a Ghostface, But either way, I really liked the unveiling of the three Ghostface. Thought it was awesome. Really been looking forward to that. So anyway, we've got Tara and Sam trying to get away. They climb up to like the top. They're in an old movie theater. Sam's holding to Tara. Tara's about to fall, and Tara hands or grabs the knife from Sam. Or I guess Sam hands the knife to Tara, and it's like, "Just drop me," right? And Ethan is down there trying to fucking stab her, and he says something that I really liked. It was like, "I've always wanted to stick something in you, Tara," which reminds me of, Stu with the "always a thing for you, Sid." Really like that. Thought that was a really good bring back. So Tara ends up falling on Ethan and takes a really nasty gut shot. However, she stabs a knife into his mouth, gives it a good twist, and boom, Ethan goes down. Now, simultaneously, up top, we've got Quinn coming along, and she's the one who we actually see drag the knife along, which I really liked in the preview, and I like how it played out in the movie. And at this point, Sam is done, and she's like, "You know what? You always shoot him in the fucking head." Bang! Shoots Quinn in the head. Dead. Detective Bailey sees this and he just goes fucking ballistic, right? He comes like running at Sam. It just gets nuts. Sam manages to get away in Final Girl fashion and then dresses up, dons the Billy costume, and goes ham. She stabby, 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 stabby. Detective Bailey all up in the neck. Tara comes in and is like looking at her, and Tara is kind of like, almost has this concerned look on her face. And Sam does not want Tara to think less of her, obviously, but, she gets the go-ahead from Tara, so she leans over and just slices. So good. And then guess who comes back? Ethan, because one always has to come back. And then there's Kirby, bam. And in the original style, she pushes the TV on his head, the one that supposedly killed Stu Macher. A totally different video that I will make about that. But yeah, that was kind of the end of it. So, all in all, I do give the movie a 10 out of 10. I was really impressed. I like how they stuck true to Gail's personality and who she really is with her writing the book, her whole, well, somebody was going to do it thing. I really thought Kirby was an awesome red herring, and I think she also stuck true to her character. She still was a horror nut, but she had grown. She was 30. The events of Scream, 4 had really changed her, and I like that it drove her to be a better person and the type of person who wanted to kill the ghost faces of the world. I also wanted to real quick touch on the prosthetic. At some point, Bailey says that the prosthetic and fake blood really worked, or something to that effect. And I think everyone thinks that the prosthetic was on the dead body, which makes no sense. They would have figured that out. I think I'm like 99.99999% positive that the prosthetic was on Quinn herself. When her body comes flying out, she is covered in blood. We see her throat slit. So it would make sense that there was a prosthetic on her. I don't think any of the core four or any characters with them were actually going to take the time to stop and investigate the body with Ghostface coming after them out of the bedroom. So the prosthetic was totally on Quinn. It was not on the dead body. So for everyone out there being like, that doesn't make sense. The thing that wouldn't make sense actually is all the fake blood all on the walls. They would have caught on to that. So unless whoever the Quinn replacement was alive and stabbed to death, that blood was fake. So that was honestly like a really big plot hole. I also thought a huge plot hole was with like, you just see Chad being stabbed so many times after he went so badass on these Ghostface, right? And he did. He went so badass on him. He was beating the shit out of one. And right as he's about to wham, crack down this gumball machine on one of the ghost faces, fuck, I can't talk. Another one comes out and just stab, and you just watch him stab. Now, it does look like he got stabbed in the chest, and he is pretty muscular, so it would make sense that it is possible he survived, but we see blood coming out of his mouth, Tara's freaking out, and it was so traumatic. It was traumatic. I thought for sure he was gonna die, and I was like, no, Chad, I just started to love your character. I will admit that I was not scared in the least with this movie. It was thrilling. It was very thrilling. It had just the right amount of gore. It was really good, and I really, really enjoyed it. So just because it's not scary doesn't mean it's not good. I'm also pretty freaking hard to scare. Just ask my kids and my boyfriend, and they'll tell you. And, as for the plot holes, the only thing I have to say about that is it's a friggin' slasher movie, you guys. Get over it. I mean, if you're gonna nitpick about every little plot hole, I promise you there's a whole lot of like other super popular movies, cult classic movies, whatever, that have lots of huge plot holes. Plot holes so big you could drive semis through them. Yeah, guys, that's my Scream 6 spoiler review. I'm sorry it came out so late. I'm sorry my lighting is terrible and I'm looking ratchet AF. I'm a mom, single mom. I got 2 jobs. So if you wouldn't mind pushing that like button and that subscribe button, that would really be super awesome. I mean, you don't have to, but like, that'd be pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool. So anyway, I hope you all have an awesome day and love, peace, and shit and grease.